Once upon a time in America, there was adventure and there was business. Adventure was dangerous, unpredictable. If you were adventurous, you were having fun. You were crazy, attractive. Business was predictable, responsible, down to earth. In short, business was the opposite of adventure. But then something happened. People discovered that the most successful business was business based on adventure. And the most successful business people are also the most adventurous. The Wall Street Journal. Adventurers in Capitalism.
Well, everything's an adventure in my life. I'm trying to balance so many things at one time.
For me, the adventure is, I'm in a business where the business models evolve every 3 to 6 months. You don't know who's going to win. No one knows what this industry is going to look like in 10 years.
Adventure means to me doing something, discovering something that I've never discovered, never knew about before.
The international travel aspect of my job is one which certainly is an adventure.
Adventures in capitalism is what our country's all about. You can fail again, but people don't care. They care about the power of an idea, and the Wall Street Journal gives me those ideas.
The Wall Street Journal over the years has progressively evolved, and it manages right today to keep me in touch with all business aspects, with international news, and even at the weekends with homes to buy or crossword puzzles.
I felt it was extremely financial driven in my younger days, and today I find it to be so well-rounded.
I think the changes that I've seen most in the Wall Street Journal is that they try hard to keep current with the most exciting technology changes out there in the business world.
I'm mostly bored with most petroleum-based products, but the only one that still keeps my interest, and I read it religiously every day, is the Wall Street Journal.
New challenges always interest me, even at this advanced stage of my life. And the prospect of putting together the Premier Auto Group, which combines Jaguar, Volvo, and Lincoln, was great.
What makes me go into the office every day is the challenge. Attempting new feats, trying to stretch myself out as far as I can to try to conquer whatever the task is.
What gets me excited about coming to work every day is we are not known. So part of my job at the company is to get us known to multiple constituencies.
Our sector, which is pre-press printing technology, is evolving very rapidly. We've had to keep our eyes on the technology that's on and even over the horizon.
I like to play offense with things, and I got my list of 101 things to do before I die. I'm at 68 now, I'm clipping through those.
In 1994, I was broke, and I took out my credit cards, and I took out the credit card checks, and I wrote all the credit cards to myself, and I started a business. Well, U.S. Office Products went from my dining room table in 1994 to a Fortune 500 company 2 years later with $4 billion in sales.
Now, hockey is still my first love, there's no question about that, and always will be. But as I get older and as I'm going to retire, I have to find different things that, what's going to happen for life after hockey, and business is one of them.
I travel in January to a couple of international shows, and then in February we spend a lot of time in Europe. We trend shop, we meet with factories, we meet with marketing companies. That if we are not understanding what's going on in the global economy today and being a part of it, we're probably not going to stay out in front of our game.
Well, the biggest challenge in new media is really being able to come out and be the most trustworthy site dedicated to health information.
Time Warner Cable is the largest cable television operator in the United States. I operate project sites all the way from Hawaii to Maine and all points in between.
As Executive Director of the National Bar Association here in Washington, D.C., I'm responsible for all of the staff, the implementation of programs, administration, and all of the program development.
The thing that still gives me the greatest satisfaction is being able to help a client grow their business. I mean, at the end of the day, I hold myself accountable for the results. And when you have a wonderful result, when people really respond to what you're putting before them, it's a great thrill.
Well, I usually start reading the Wall Street Journal by glancing through the first page.
And go to the What's New section.
The business and finance section here gives you a good view of what it is that you're going to look for throughout this whole piece.
My favorite column is the center column on the first page.
I always read the international section.
The editorials are of the finest that you find.
I also read the back of the front section, which is on Washington.
Then I go to the marketplace because that has a lot of nourishment for me.
The most important section for me is Who's News.
I can never put the Wall Street Journal away without looking at the money and investing section,
where I can check the stock prices of all my investments.
I love the Weekend Journal. It's got good features.
For the most part, I read the entire paper.
I read the Wall Street Journal every day. It is my primary reading here and in Europe. The Wall Street Journal fulfills me in as much as it gives all the immediate news on the front page, and if you want the depth, you can go into the newspaper.
The way that I start out reading the paper is to always pick up and go to the What's New section. For example, in today's paper, 2 articles that have a significant impact on the telecommunications industry. There's one thing for certain, and that's change. And if you want to make sure in business that you're prepared for that change, you need to be watching what's happening outside your own internal organization. And I think the Journal's the best place in business to be looking for that.
The major impact of the Journal on my life has been as a broad-based research tool and information source for not only business-related decisions, but also interesting cultural information packaged in a format that I have time to digest. It's a tool that I would be really hard-pressed to replace.
Reading the Journal absolutely keeps me in touch around the world. I may show up at an international show in Frankfurt, Germany, and I'll be chatting with my friends who own companies in England, and they want to talk about their issues. Or I'll be in Hong Kong, and you know what? They want to talk about their issues. And each and every time, there's probably one source that I can refer back to, and that's the Journal.
I would say the way the Journal has really has changed my life in terms of my industry is because they're not insiders, and it really is written for a general business audience. It's usually better analysis, it's more in depth, and it gives you some perspective that you don't see in most of the other publications.
From a professional standpoint, I read the Journal to gain new business prospects for my company, as well as to stay abreast in the industries that my clients compete in. There is a specific section, marketing and media, that highlights advertising news. It highlights specific marketing issues that are being addressed by companies, and with their take on how they are actually conquering these issues.
The Journal has given me the opportunity to spot trends before they become mainstream and to extrapolate information in such a way to take advantage of my entrepreneurial abilities and set up businesses from that information. Of the 10 businesses I've started, I can tell you that 3 came directly from articles I read in the Wall Street Journal.
Who reads the Wall Street Journal? Who's serious about stocks and shit? Where's Adam?
You know, after practice I go home, and after lunch I kind of browse it for an hour, see what's going on, see if there's any special articles that catches my eye, and then I'll talk to my broker about it, my analyst, see what's going on.
I like to say if it didn't happen on the front screen of AOL, it didn't happen, but I have to admit, every morning I start the day with the Wall Street Journal.
It sets the pace for my day. The Wall Street Journal is always filled with technology articles and internet articles. They're all of major interest to me. The Journal is more than just a business read. I really enjoy looking at the travel section and the book section.
I think the coverage of advertising and marketing and media is excellent, because I find that the Journal puts these subjects in a much larger business context. I mean, there's so much change happening in the world. Things are happening so rapidly that I feel as if I go and I grab the Wall Street Journal every morning just to find out what's happened to my clients, to their companies, to the media, to my competitive set overnight. And when I don't get it in the morning, I somehow feel exposed because I don't know what's happened.
First and foremost, it's always true to its values. It doesn't deviate. It's a very consistent approach and to its beliefs and the world at large, and I appreciate that.
The Wall Street Journal is clearly not cheerleaders for business. I mean, they're very good critics of business. They raise some of the issues that we don't necessarily think of as you go about, your day-to-day business.
The thing that strikes me the most is how trustworthy and how reliable the information is.
The voice speaks to me. I really trust it, and that fundamentally I trust the editors. I don't think they have an axe to grind.
I think it just makes you a smarter person about what the issues are out in the world, because the world of commerce really touches everything, and everything touches the world of commerce. And I think that's reflected in the pages of the Wall Street Journal.
If I was describing the Journal in one word, I would use unpredictable.
Authentic.
Thorough.
Trusted advisor.
Informative.
Compendium.
They pay me for this.
Happening is great.
Trustworthy.
Essential.
As I have an opportunity to reduce my workload, I'm going to get me a Harley Davidson. You can put the Wall Street Journal right on the back seat and stop and read it anywhere.